Hello everybody, welcome to your art home learning this week. First of all, my apologies for there being no home learning last week. I was involved in a really special printing lesson with some year threes, and we welcomed none other than Dr. Jill Biden and Mrs. Akshata Murthy into school to see what was going on in some music, art and forestry lessons. So it was really quite a jam-packed end to last week. But without further ado, this week we're looking at a British artist named Eileen Agar. Agar was a painter and object maker also, who loved to take everyday objects and turn them into something very original, very unique. Agar used lots of different types of ways to make her art, like painting, cutting out images from magazines and gluing them onto paper in unusual ways, taking photographs with a camera, and also creating sculptures.
She said, very early on, I liked doing collage and making objects, that sort of thing. It very often frees you rather than sticking to doing just one thing. If you stick to one, just painting, you lose ideas. But if you play about with other things, they bring you into conflict with other ideas. Eileen Agar also loved to have fun and enjoy life and was friends with other famous artists like Pablo Picasso. From her home in London, she loved to travel to the coastlines of Cornwall, Cumbria and France and became a keen beachcomber. What that means is Agar collected shells and stones and things like starfish, bones and other things washed up by the sea, which she used in her assemblage art. Assemblage is where you put together different objects you found and turn them into new sculptures, for example. Agar was born in 1899 in Argentina. Her mother was American and her father was Scottish. They moved to London when she was around 12 years old. She lived a very long life, from 1899 to 1991. What age does that make her when she died? One of the things she was most famous for was making hat designs. Now, she was inspired by her mum, who loved wearing big hats for special occasions. Eileen herself enjoyed making hats that had a surreal fantasy theme. You might remember that surrealism is a type of art that tries to show things in a way that isn't realistic. It can be weird or strange, like when you have a dream that doesn't make sense. Surreal art often mixes together things that don't normally go together, like a fish with a bicycle or a bird with a person's face. Her surreal hat designs were like that too. She made hats that were not just normal, but also had strange and unusual things on them. Sometimes her hats had feathers or shells. Sometimes they had mirrors or other objects, even toy animals. Some you might not even recognise as a hat at first. She wanted her hats to be like little pieces of art that people could wear on their heads. She would also use lots of bright colours and different materials like fabric and paper. Each hat was unique and had its own meaning. Agar made these hats because she was interested in exploring the world of dreams and the subconscious mind. She thought that by creating these surreal objects, she could help people see the world in a new and different way. Agar used the feathers from a headdress her mum used to wear to make a sculpture of a head modelling a very flamboyant, outrageous hat. This, the Angel of Anarchy, it's about being a rebel, was made from plaster and was covered in fabric and collage materials. She actually had to make the sculpture twice because the first version got lost on its way back from an exhibition in Amsterdam. She didn't mind making it again. She added a blindfold to this version to reflect the uncertainty of the time. She made it in 1940, at the beginning of the Second World War. It's important that Eileen Agar was a female surrealist artist because during her time there weren't many female artists who were able to make a name for themselves, especially in the surrealism movement. It's a group of artists united by similar ideas. Women were not often taken as seriously as men in the art world, but Eileen Agar was one of the few who was able to break through barriers and become famous for her art, mixing together different things from different places and times.
Possible ideas for your art learning this week. If you want to make your own surreal hat at home, you can start with simple materials like paper, glue and paint. You could start by making a basic hat shape out of your paper, like a cone or a cylinder shape. Then you can build outwards and even upwards and add all sorts of decorations to it, using things like feathers, beads, even buttons or flowers. You'll have lots of different ideas. It's a bit like what you were doing or thinking about a few weeks ago when we looked at the assemblages created by Andy Goldsworthy. This time it's all focused on headwear. Do please send me in photographs of the gorgeous hat designs you create, and I'd love to share them in our art gallery on the website londonsouthearthub.org and also over on our school Instagram and Art Hub Instagram. Have fun with your hats, and why not get together with a few of your friends over the weekend and have a little hat making party, and enjoy parading them proudly afterwards. Definitely. You could work together with an older sibling or a younger sibling. Completely up to you. I cannot wait to see what wacky designs you come up with.